Hello everyone. I'm a musician. I'm a musician who didn't come from a musical background. And I didn't grow up in a music friendly neighborhood. And my formal training into music just started at the age of 20. So my idea of music mostly came from the perspective of an audience, how they perceive it, how they listen it, and how much they love it. So I so wanted to be a part of this world, be a part of this beautiful music world. And I slowly started to equip myself to be a part of it and to belong in it. Growing up, I was just this happy go lucky kid who ensured that my playtime never got disturbed because of my average marks in the examinations. I think my parents didn't care much of my average marks because I think they knew that education is not all about just what we study in the books. I was just this happy kid, and my perspective towards music changed because of this particular channel. It was a local TV channel called SCV during our times, which played music for 24 hours. By 24 hours, I mean there are no commercial advertisements in between. It continuously plays songs. Whatever time you wake up, there will be songs all the time. So without any conscious effort, I was surrounding myself with Tamil songs of different eras. So I wake up every day with Tamil music. I wake up every day with this masterpieces and classics of Tamil music composers. Over a period of time, my attention turned towards the musicians behind these masterpieces. But at that stage, it was still fascination for me about these larger than life musicians and how they get celebrated, and how their music and how their knowledge in music actually turns millions of people's emotions. They make it happy, they make them sad, they make them feel something which they cannot feel on a normal day. The interest then evolved into observing the background scores in the movies and how the sounds and the music elevated the story. Things started to like fall down in places, I guess, because slowly I started to understand that sounds and the music is my invisible hero while watching a movie. I started to realize that sound is my storyteller, and the storytelling through sound impacted me more than what a visual medium will probably do to me. Uh, I started watching movies from different era and languages to understand how sounds probably evolved across various media and technology to where it is today. The possibility of its future thrilled me, like it impacted me very well. It kind of made me realize that okay, what else it can happen now. It is 360-degree, and where else this sound perspective can go. And that kind of made me realize okay, I think I belong here. I need to be a part of this sound world. And then I asked my parents and I convinced my parents to switch my occupation. So I enrolled myself in my audio engineering course after completing my civil engineering degree. Looking back, there was no one moment, or that is like no one person who decided or who inspired my decision to dedicate myself to this art. I was just another person amongst the audience, and who got intrigued by this art. And time kind of decided where I want to be and what makes me very happy, and what I want to pursue. So the first day at my audio engineering course, I was this wide-eyed young man who was fantasizing everything that was around me, and probably the only person who was not a musician, or relatively less musical knowledge. But for the first time in my life, I found myself absolutely fascinated with my subjects, and I just couldn't get enough time to get into more details and to just go along the studios and everywhere. I was just this enthu kid in the class. I showed a lot of interest, and I was a topper in my batch. And I envisioned my life as in like an endless opportunities and learnings with respect to sound and music. In this pursuit, one of the rude awakenings for me was the real-time opportunities I got. I simply couldn't bring myself to accepting projects or accepting jobs which would really suck the life and love out of what I do, just for the reason of having a job. So for the larger part of my life, I remained jobless, doing projects here and there just to survive and just to kind of be there, and probably barely afloat. I often thought about my journey to that point and the purpose of why I'm here. It was in those hours of frustration and desperation that took me back to the days where I listened to music without a care in the world. Where my nights and days were filled dreaming about the life inside a music studio and how my favorite songs actually came into being. I realized that being an audience, being that kid who would listen to SCV all day long, was where it all started. And recreating that experience with my friends would bring some light and some inspiration to my days. With that intention in mind, one fine evening, I updated my Facebook status asking anyone who would be interested in my friends to come to join me, to sing and listen to the songs with me, and that's how Motamadi music came to my life. From my terrace with just my friends to my shows among thousand people, I understood that it was the audience who lets music speak to them in the way they wanted, and the industry revolved around the audience. How can a piece of music or how can a piece of performance can make the audience very happy? Probably once again, I felt that time helped me understand what I wanted in life and how I can bring back something that I wanted if I was patient enough for it. From the get go, the focus of Motamari music has been to be an avenue for people to relax and sing their hearts out rather than the popularity or the financial success of it. So, we started a ritual where we conduct free sessions every 45 days consistently, and to our surprise, in every single iteration, people kept bringing more and more friends. Everything was so organic about it, and everything was so cheerful about it. It became a circle of positivity, and it became a circle of just music and music lovers. I mean, when there is a space like that, who wouldn't want to be there? Those exhilarating times often made me question how did we go from 25 people to over 1,000 people clamoring in nearby terraces that almost got us into trouble. I realized that these are some of the reasons. One, Motamari music started as an idea that there will be no stage whatsoever. The setup was in such a way that the musicians and the audience are in the same plane where the later steering the show after a point of time. In that way, there was no hierarchy set. Second, we consciously wanted to help people to get over their fear of singing in public and let go of their inhibitions. So from making the shows happen during evenings to cozy lightings, so the idea was to focus on helping our audience feel very relaxed and enjoy, and also to make sure it is dark, so that nobody's face will be seen, so that their inhibitions goes down. Third, it was and still continues to revolve entirely around the audience as a whole. There are no celebrities in the band, and there is no single person who is a showstopper in the band. So it is always the audience who is in the prime focus. And fourth, the idea of the show relied heavily on spontaneity with no extra rehearsals for the musicians, so that the audience never feel inferior to the musicians. So if like audience can make mistakes, the musicians can also make mistakes. So in that way, everything was on the same plane where nobody showed in hierarchy over the another one. When we were looking at venues to expand, we chose an auditorium to break the paradigm of artist versus audience, where the audience have always been audience, where the non-musicians always felt that they cannot be on that stage. We wanted to take a traditional setup and fit in our audience first idea, and it clicked really well. As we traveled across cities, we adapted the city and its audience. And it taught us the musical style of each city and the sensibility, so that the audience in Trichy felt at ease and at home, like our audience at my very own terrace did. As we took the concept to Dubai, our first international audience, we just tapped to our audience's nostalgia of singing their favorite songs in their mother tongue, just like how it was for them, how it would be for them back home. As the scopes expanded, the boundaries started diminishing, and as the idea was all about the audience and their connect with Tamil music, irrespective of which part of the world they are currently in, they all felt home when they came inside, and they all felt as performance when they came inside. And at the end of the day, it was all positive for them, and that's all I wanted. At this juncture, I want to add how the approach to Motamadi music experience involved and influenced my personal journey as an independent musician. I was visualizing music that was made for the characters that will in turn express the story behind it. Or I always thought my music is storytelling and it's not just about notes or whatsoever it is. But I wanted it to be free of an actual movie plot or even the typical 5 minute track. One question that always occurred to me was who said this norm of a track should be 4 minute or 5 minute? When it is storytelling, why cannot it be like for a minute, for 1 minute or a half? And that made me do Oru Kutti Kadai. Oru Kutti Kadai is my series of independent music where the tracks is for 1.5 minutes, and it's majorly revolves around a character or a story, and the song tells about that character or the story. And so I experimented with a series of musical videos. The music mostly was like well received by the audience. In many ways, I realized that my approach to Motamadi and Kutti Kadai has been the same, where the soul of these two formats revolve around conversations with the audience, and this is how I would always like to have my approach towards music. I will always be that audience who will first receive music and then try to perceive it and give it back to someone in the way how I would like to be received. The experience that I gained through these two facets of my life so far has taught me this valuable lesson. Consistency, grit, and determination are directly proportional to time. With adequate patience to let things take shape organically, have learned that time rewards me with better opportunities. I would like to conclude my story here with the favorite lyrics of a song, which technically translates to: when you lose what you have in your hand, you get something that is bigger and better. As I said, everything is directly proportional to time, so is patience. And I guess that also pretty much sums up my life, isn't it?